This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblue, Chris Bergen, and Pat Daniel. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil, Chris, and Pat with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Sports Talk Media Network on a Friday. We love Fridays, don't we? Even when it's raining and storming, we got a nice little cloud moving through our part of Columbia, a little bit of wind, a little bit of rain, and the temperatures as a result dropping. We like that. I pity the folks at the baseball regionals who are being held up because of the weather. You know it's going to happen. It happens every year. It's unavoidable, primarily in the Southeast. But the games go on. We'll update the scoreboard for you here in just a moment. Chris Bergen is live in Greenville, North Carolina with Coastal Carolina. We're going to go to him in just a second as they're about to get underway with that game. And tonight we'll have Jeff Owens on NASCAR as they go racing, NASCAR-wise, for the first time in St. Louis. That should be kind of fun. And George Bryan with birdies and bogeys around South Carolina. He's got a lot to talk about in the golf world locally. Maybe, you know, with a son who's a PGA professional, a touring pro, he might have some thoughts on this LIV Tour and what it means to the professional golfers who are playing on the PGA Tour, might have that opportunity to play in some of those events. We got all that, and we'll update the U.S. Women's Open and the Memorial as well. Some Major League Baseball, lots of recruiting to talk about tonight. We'll get into that in the first hour because it's the first weekend of June. That's a major recruiting weekend for Clemson, as the Tigers have about 30 prospects coming in for official visits. This is really historical for Clemson because never before has Dabo Swinney allowed official visits in the summer months. But, you know, he's trying to keep up with the times, with everything changing. Probably realizes that with players making decisions earlier and earlier and coming off their summer visits, that Clemson had to become involved in that aspect of the recruiting warfare as well. And they are taking a deep plunge. I mean, I can't even remember weekends back in the old days of December and January where they had 30. He always tried to keep those spread out and limited so you could have more interaction, more personal time and things like that. But, you know, you do what you have to do, and the Tigers are going to have a big recruiting weekend. Well, it's underway right now. I would imagine the prospects are on campus. If you want to jump on board the program, the phone number is 888-898-2525, 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. And thanks for all the congratulatory remarks on the Celtics last night. But I'm not buying it yet. It's just game one of the series. You got to win 4, or as I like to say from a Celtic standpoint, as a Celtiologist, it's 3-18. That's what time it is, Pat. It's 3-18.
Hey, I agree with you there. Now, talk about a rebirth, a revitalization of the career of Al Horford coming out last night. I saw one person tweet out today, was it Ray Allen Horford showed up last night? He was shooting like Ray Allen out there, just drilling threes, and I guess he really needed and enjoyed that year off he had out in Oklahoma City because he just looks like a ball of energy out there.
Rejuvenated. You know, I thought the Celtics, they played a good first half. They got run over in the third quarter, and then, of course, they had the great fourth quarter. But I really thought that they were having a little bit of a time adjusting maybe to being on the West Coast after going from Miami to San Francisco. Not much of a break between well, I guess they had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but they had a real grueling series against Miami, coming off a real grueling series against Milwaukee. But I will say this, just off the first game, totally different basketball, Pat, than what we saw in the 2 other Eastern Conference series that the Celtics had won. You go back and you look at the series against Miami and the series against Milwaukee. I mean, it was one charge or block call after another on both sides. Players attacking the basket, players trying to defend, and players getting run over. Very, very physical, and a lot of officiating involved trying to make the correct call. You know, last night, I can only remember 1 or maybe 2 instances where the block charge actually came into play around the basket. In other words, everybody was setting up outside and firing threes. And you expect that with the Warriors and with the Celtics. I mean, they're not shy about shooting the three either. And both teams were making it at a high clip, so they settled primarily on the perimeter game instead of attacking. But in the fourth quarter, Jaylen Brown took over for the Celtics, and he attacked, and he also hit some outside shots. And like you mentioned, Horford was great. Marcus Smart was great. And it's good to be up 1-0. That's all I got to say about that. Meantime, let's head to Greenville, North Carolina, where they are underway. Coastal Carolina and Virginia, the second game of the day. The first game there, not competitive at all, as the top seed East Carolina trying to get to the College World Series for the first time ever. I think it's their 37th NCAA tournament appearance. They have yet to make it to Omaha. That's the longest streak in the country. And the Pirates dispatched Coppin State 17-1 earlier today. Chris Bergen is there. I hope you didn't have to sit through that game to get to this game.
No, actually, it ended about 4:30 this afternoon, Phil, so plenty of time. But, yeah, you're right. ECU looked really, really good. And before we get into the regionals here, I want to mention this to you. I gave your team a chance last night. I watched some NBA Finals for the first time in years. I'll never watch again. 93 pointers between the two teams. That's not basketball. That was a game of fours. And then also, it matters worse, I had to listen to Mark Jackson do great analysis like, the Celtics need to play better defense against Steph Curry. Well, duh.
Well, you know what? Yeah. You go watch your hockey, and we'll stick to the NBA, okay? You go watch your hockey.
93 pointers between two teams in 48 minutes. That's not basketball.
Well, I agree. I mean, the game has certainly changed to the perimeter versus the inside. If you're making them, it makes for pretty exciting basketball. I mean, it really does. And in the first quarter, Steph Curry was unguardable, and the Celtics proved it because they didn't guard him. They didn't even attempt to guard him, it looked like. I mean, they gave him all the space he wanted, and he just burned them repeatedly. And then I think he only hit 1 3-pointer the rest of the way. They changed their defense. The way they attacked the screens, not giving him the space. That was a very smart adjustment that they made. And then they got hot. But, I agree with you. If you're shooting a bunch of threes in their bricks, it makes for very poor basketball. I'll give you that.
Yeah, so I tried. But props to you boys for pulling that one out. I thought they were dead in the water in the third quarter, but I did try.
Yes.
I gave it the old college try, and I will stick with college basketball. You can have the NBA.
Okay, thank you. I'll take my 18th ring if it happens here in the next week and a half or so.
And if it gets the New York Yankees World Championship, we may never hear the end of
Well, anyway. I was just thinking about how good my world is today. My world today is, I don't know how many people out there besides me are Yankee and Celtics fans together. You think there are a lot of those people that are both Yankee and Celtics, and throw in the Packers. That's a wonderful, blessed trio, to be fans of, So I feel very fortunate that those three teams adopted me to be fans of those three teams, okay, and selected me to be part of their nation, their fan nation. But right now, I've got the best team in baseball, and I've got a team three wins away from an NBA championship. I'm feeling pretty good.
And your Packers should be pretty good during the fall. This may be the year of the corn.
Let's hope.
Anyhow, let's get to some baseball. Coastal and Virginia underway. Actually, the skies have cleared. I was listening to the weather forecast in Columbia, and I'm 4.5 hours east of Columbia. And gosh, it is sunny and pleasant here. 83 degrees at first pitch here this evening, and a sparse crowd, not anywhere close to the football-like atmosphere we had when East Carolina played earlier today. Gary Gilmore, the head coach at Coastal, told us yesterday that this is a different atmosphere than you see at a lot of places, and he was right. They have fans tailgating in the outfield, beyond the outfield wall, all the way around from left field to right field. The place was packed. They were raucous, even in a 17-1 ball game. And remember this name for them, Bryson Worrell. You will see it tonight on ESPN if you haven't already. He hit 2 home runs in the third inning, Phil, one from each side of the plate.
Wow.
And for some reason, they left it. He played the whole game. Now, I don't know why, but he had a heck of a ball game. They won 17-1, and now they await the winner of the game that has just gotten underway. Coastal went down in order in the top of the first against Nate Savino, the left-hander for Virginia. And now Reed Van Scooter is trying to do the same thing and set the Cavaliers down in order in the bottom of the first inning. So an early pitcher's duel shaping up here in Greenville.
Anything unusual about the Coastal lineup? Anything Gary Gilmore did differently than he had been doing in the regular season and into the Sun Belt tournament for their one game there?
Probably the only thing, Wanderina getting the day off at least to start. The catcher is Tanner Garrison, and Garrison just making his 21st start of the year. He's batting eighth. That's about the only big change. I think you get to this point in the season, you are who you are, and you go with the players that got you here. And for the most part, this lineup hasn't changed a whole lot, especially at the top of the order. So not a whole lot, just a left-handed pitcher. So they wanted to get another right-handed bat into the offense against Nate Savino.
All right, very good. How's your weather look? As I mentioned as we came on the air, it's a little stormy here in this part of Columbia, and there's some weather moving across South Carolina. You're way up in the northeastern corner of North Carolina, more or less. How's it looking up your way?
Oh, nice. As I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, we've got a nice breeze blowing. It's clear, 83 degrees. About an hour and a half ago, I wouldn't have told you that because had some dark clouds hovering over the stadium right towards the tail end of East Carolina's win. But since that time, the only scary thing we've had is the fire alarm went off in the press box because evidently down at the concession stand, they burned some hamburgers. So aside from that, no one moved in the press box. So I figured, all right, well, if the East Carolina folks aren't concerned about it, then I feel okay by keeping my seat as well.
That's fantastic. So for the East Carolina game, you mentioned what a great atmosphere that is for baseball. And I guess, mid-afternoon they're playing Coppin State and they figure they're going to roll them, which they did. But, I mean, did the big crowd of Pirates fans turn out? Did they park outside the fence? I think they call that area, I want to say they call it the jungle out there.
That is correct.
Yeah.
And they are still here. There are actually more fans almost on the outfield berm in the jungle than there are actually in the stadium. Coastal and Virginia probably brought a grand total of 200 fans between the two. So not a very big crowd at all. But East Carolina had this thing packed. And I guess tomorrow night when they play a night game against either Virginia or Coastal, they're going to have overflow crowded here. And the atmosphere, even in a 17-1 ball game, was fantastic earlier today. So I can only imagine what it might be like tomorrow night for Coastal or Virginia against those guys.
Would you think more Coastal fans with a win tonight over Virginia, more Coastal fans would make the trip up to Greenville, North Carolina by tomorrow?
I would think so, Phil, and I would think UVA might get the same bump because both schools are about 3.5 hours away from Greenville. And talking to the Virginia baseball contact, he said the majority of their fan base actually lives in Richmond, which is a little bit closer to Greenville than Charlottesville is. So they have a smattering of orange here thus far, but I would imagine tomorrow, especially if they win tonight, they'll have a much better crowd. Problem is, all these schools only got 200 tickets to sell.
Mm-hmm.
Coastal sold their 200, UVA sold its 200, and Coppin State, I'm not sure if they sold all their allotment, but everybody else is going to be in purple and gold tomorrow evening.
All right. Well, you stay on top of things. We'll catch back up with you in about 10 minutes or so. They're underway at East Carolina. Chris Bergen is there. No score early on. Give you some other scores around the country at the regionals. Notre Dame is leading Texas Tech 2-0, bottom of the first. Stanford hammering Binghamton 14-6, top of the sixth. San Diego in the top of the ninth is leading Vanderbilt 3-2. Tennessee and Alabama State are scoreless in the top of the second. That's probably a big surprise there that Tennessee didn't score in the first. And we have what else is going on? Got a bunch of games to come later on. Give you some finals. Campbell blasted Georgia Tech 15-8. They pulled out the whooping stick. This game in Knoxville. Let me say something about Georgia Tech. They have a great reputation for a period of time there in the 2000s. They were like South Carolina going to the College World Series, didn't win it, but they went. Do you realize? And now they got to come out of the losers bracket. Danny Hall's their coach. He's won over 1,000 games. He's a Hall of Famer. Georgia Tech has not made it out of a regional since 2006. And they've been in almost every tournament that's been played since 2006. There might be a year or two there where they didn't make it. But in every year that they've played in the regionals since 2006, they went to the World Series. They haven't gotten out of the regional round. And my kind of point in bringing all this up is, and Danny Hall's a great coach. And he, like I said, 1,000 wins, Hall of Fame guy. They've stuck with him through all of this. Clemson, South Carolina, you go a couple of years Well, even if you make a regional, if you go a couple of years not making a regional, you're in hot water. But both of the coaches that have been fired the most recently at the two places, Holbrook and Monty Lee. Monty Lee never made out of a regional. He got fired after not making it for 2 years to the tournament. And Chad Holbrook did get to a super regional, almost got to the World Series, but he got fired. So, I mean, Georgia Tech showing extreme patience with their baseball coach, who they obviously love and thinks he does a great job. But it's a program that I think has maybe right now a higher reputation than it deserves, because they don't go anywhere when they get to the tournament. That's my point and all that. Florida State beat UCLA 5-3. Arkansas over Grand Canyon 7-1. You think Wofford would have done better? That's one of the teams that Coach Interdonato, I think, pointed to in talking about who they should have been in ahead of. How about the Ivy League? Columbia beating Gonzaga 8-2. Of course, Gonzaga, I don't know, they are known about for their baseball. Oklahoma pounded Liberty 16-3. Louisville over Southeast Missouri State 7-2. UConn knocked off Wake Forest 8-7. North Carolina big over Hofstra 15-4. That would have been the College of Charleston in that game had they won their tournament. Southern Miss shut out Army 2-0. Texas an 11-3 winner over Air Force, and Texas A&M has beaten Oral Roberts by a score of 8-2. So we're up to date on the baseball, and Coastal Carolina, Virginia, they are playing in the top of the second, and they are scoreless. Chanticleer is coming up to the plate for the second time. So we'll stay on top of these scores. We'll update some other notes for you. If you have a comment, question you haven't been able to get through, I know we left a lot of people hanging this week. We've been really busy. We got some time here over the next half hour, 45 minutes or so to take some calls. 888-898-2525. South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. Back with you here on Sports Talk Friday edition coming up.
Parents ask, what's the best way to save for college? I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus, and my answer is always open a Future Scholar 529 college savings account. It's easy. You can get started online with any amount. It's flexible to adapt to your child's college dreams, and you can deduct 100% of your contributions from the South Carolina state tax return. So what are you waiting for? Go to futurescholar.com and see why it's the smart, easy way to save for college. futurescholar.com.
I learned that people are just looking for somebody to listen to them. You can't just start cutting somebody's hair and you're going to be quiet the whole time because you're not going to be in business long.
The South Carolina Education Lottery has provided over $800 million to help students attend technical colleges across our state, investing in a new generation of entrepreneurs, just like James. Your passion is our purpose.
Go, 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 shorty. It's your birthday. We gon' party like it's your birthday. We gon' sip the party like it's your birthday. Me in the club, bottle full of bug. With mommy, I got the head ticket and the ticket drugs. I'm in the having sex, I ain't in the making love. So come give me a hug. We gon' sip the party like it's your birthday. Me in the club.
Back we are, Sports Talk Media Network. Phone number 888-898-2525. That is the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number for you here on Sports Talk. Since 2002, more than $6 billion in lottery proceeds have been used to support South Carolina educational programs. Learn more about the South Carolina Education Lottery's impact at sceducationlottery.com/education wins, and playing for fun is a win for education. Looking at a few other of the top stories of the day, we take a look at our Founders Federal Notebook. Reminder, at Founders Federal, you can get a mortgage note still at a very good rate. Rates have gone up, but of course you can still get a very good rate at Founders Federal, as low as 3.587%. So the SEC meetings came to a conclusion today. They did nothing with the football scheduling model. They'll bring that back up later on. You know, they got the two proposals, one for the 9-game schedule for the league and one for an 8-game schedule for the league. If you ask me, if it were up to me, I would say play 9 games because I think the more conference games, the better. Why not another big SEC weekend to have on your schedule? I don't see what the problem is, except I know the weaker teams are concerned about that because that means one less likely win for them with a non-conference game, and that hurts their bowl possibilities. But I think just from a fan standpoint, television standpoint, another weekend of SEC football, I think that'd be doggone good. So that is what I would. That's what I would push for. And the SEC today did announce some information about basketball scheduling and what they plan to do with that in the future. And they've got a little bit of a change going on there. In fact, they approved formats for men's and women's basketball, soccer, and men's and women's tennis and softball. For men's basketball, in the regular season, each season, a team will play 2 permanent opponents home and away. So that's 4 of your games. 1 rotating opponent home and away. That's 6 of your games. And the 12 remaining teams in single contest, either home or away, for a total of 18 conference games. And all 16 teams will compete in a single elimination format in the men's basketball tournament, consistent with the current format, but with 2 additional games. The top 4 seeded teams will continue to receive a bye through the first 2 rounds of the tournament. So, if I am correct, I think, right, prior to this, the lowest 2 teams didn't make the tournament. And then you had the play-in round, and then your 4 teams still had the first round bye, and they moved into that the next day. I think I'm right on that. So, again, all 16 teams now in the SEC will be competing in a single elimination basketball tournament. For the women, each season a team will play 1 rotating opponent home and away, and the 14 remaining teams in single contests, either home or away, for a total of 16 conference games. The women's basketball tournament, all 16 teams will compete single elimination format consistent with the current format, but with 2 additional games. The top 4 seeded teams will continue to receive a bye through the first 2 rounds of the tournament. Okay, so that's what they're going to do for men's and women's basketball. And as I said, the football scheduling issue will be taken up at a later time. All right, and let's see. Let's update our poll question of the week. We're at 516 votes with 7 hours left. I think a few more votes have come in on the yes side for Mark Kingston here since we put the poll question out. Mark Kingston will return next season as USC's baseball coach. Do you agree with that plan? And 74.4% have said no. 25.6% have said yes. But I think he's picked up a few more yeses here of late. Again, you've got about 7 hours left to vote. If you haven't, 516 votes are in. It's been a very popular poll question this week with the responses there. And let's see here. What else do we have to tell you about from today? We went over the college baseball games. We'll give you more on that coming up here in just a little bit. And SEC has reached an agreement to have the baseball tournament remain in Hoover for the next 2 years, according to Greg Sankey. Also, Greg Sankey talked about NIL and what the SEC and other leagues can or cannot do here. And what he told reporters today as they were heading out of town and leaving Destin. Of course, he was one of the folks who went to Washington to visit in early May with congressional leaders, pressing them to enact federal legislation to police NIL. Congress has had no interest in dealing with that to this point. He's called on the NCAA to make a move as well, and the NCAA has really done nothing at this point in time. Everybody is afraid that anything that they enact to put the so-called guardrails involving NIL in place will lead to lawsuits. And, it's something that he said they're talking about. And he said, you ask a question, is it legal? If they do anything, is it legal? He says he's not the one to answer. He said certainly court outcomes speak to conference oversight of certain aspects of college sports rather than national. And he says it's something they'd engage with with their counsel in determining. We'll be back after this break.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's your weekend forecast. Heavy rains on and off into the night. Our low dips to 66 tomorrow. We'll have some morning showers. They'll clear out and it'll get nicer. For Saturday, 84. Our Saturday high temp with lower humidity. Sunday is wonderful with all sunshine and a high peaking at 85. Have a great weekend. I'm Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Aiken-Cochran. As Miss America, I know that taking care of yourself is important. Part of taking care of your health is knowing if you're at risk of type 2 diabetes. Prediabetes is serious and puts you at risk for developing type 2 diabetes. 90% of South Carolinians who have it don't know they have it. Visit inittogethersc.org. Take an online test to find out your risk and join a diabetes prevention program. Brought to you by the Diabetes Action Council of South Carolina.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
I was feeling really tired, really slow, no energy, nothing. Started taking it, and that was like, wow, something happened. I've been telling everybody I know about it. We're happy with the product. Even my wife at first didn't say anything. Now she's saying, oh, my gosh, I miss it. I go, how come? She goes, I'm tired. She goes, and plus my nails and hair were growing.
Well, I got more energy, I can tell you that, because I'm always active, whether I'm playing golf or working on the yard or pruning my palm trees. I still gap them at 84. So I've got a lot of energy. That's what I like about the product. And like I say, I have no complaints.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature right now. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get free shipping. And don't forget to get 35% off your first order as a preferred customer by using discount code BALANCE.
When it comes to firearms, ammunition, and accessories, some things are changing. Well, fortunately, some things haven't changed a bit. I'm talking all about Shooter's Choice in West Columbia. What has never and will never change is the customer service. Top-notch with the staff that has decades of experience in the firearms industry. This staff actually hunts and shoots regularly. For over 30 years, Shooter's Choice has never lost that hometown feel and never felt like shopping at some big box store. What has changed? Well, technology. If you'd rather spend your money on firearms than gas, go online to shooterschoicesc.com and check out a great website that's easy to navigate 24/7. Be the first to get items as they are received at the store. Be the first to get that newest production model ordered before it even enters the retail store. Come pick it up at your convenience. Sign up for notifications of new products and special inventory. It's all at shooterschoicesc.com. So come on in and see the team at Shooter's Choice, 944 Sunset Boulevard, or visit online. Either way, you'll see what I'm talking about. Make your first choice, your best choice. Make it Shooter's Choice.
Every point, join me, Chad Jordan, and my co-host Larry Jordan for the Palmetto Real Estate Pros. We'll help you out whether you're looking to buy, sell, or just learn all things real estate every Friday right here at 100.7 The Point.
Hi, this is Marsha Clayman.
And I'm Karen Pickard. We're your hosts for the Positive Point on Aging.
We'll talk about aging gracefully and senior care every Tuesday morning from 8:30 to 9 o'clock a.m.
Join us right here on The Point for the Positive Point on Aging.
Brought to you by Oakley Village of Lexington.
Everyone knows that here at The Point, we are all about supporting local businesses. We are all about local, local, local. You cannot get more local than my friend Greg McCoy and his business, Simplified Mortgage Solutions. Fran Halloran here. If you're buying a home or you're looking to refinance your current home, you owe it to yourself to call Greg. He is the real deal. You can expect Greg to treat you like you are his only client. You can expect Greg to scour the market to find you the best rate available. You can expect Greg to charge you a fair price for his work and his service. Why would you deal with some national company headquartered in who knows where when you can do business with Greg? Need further persuasion? Okay, I didn't even mention the good Greg does in our community by supporting local charities like Blue Star Mothers and Camp Chemo. Come on, you need to call Greg. Online at simplifiedmortgagesc.com, or you can call Greg at 803-722-6044. That's 722-6044.
A well-regulated humidor being necessary to the preservation of a cigar, the right of the people to keep and enjoy cigars shall not be infringed. For those who love a great cigar and want to spend time with others who are like-minded, the Cigar Militia offers the experience you're looking for. We're located in the Colonial Village next to the Melting Pot. The Cigar Militia offers exceptional cigars from around the world, staff to assist you in your selections, private cigar lockers, and a lounge where members can relax and enjoy.
To be the GOAT, you got to have all the elements to put on a track.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network here on a Friday night. Lots going on. Phil Kornblut, Pat Daniel here in Columbia, Chris Bergen in Greenville, North Carolina, Coastal Carolina, and East Carolina. They are playing in Game 2 of that regional. Let's go live to Bergie to get the latest and see if anybody has broken through on the scoreboard. What you got, sir?
Well, Phil, actually, Coastal Carolina is broken on top, has given the Sunbelt Pitcher of the Year in Reed Van Scooter a 2-0 lead. They scored twice in the top of the second inning on some shaky defense by Virginia. Coastal actually loaded the bases, and then a high chopper to third. UVA tried to turn the double play to get out of the inning. The throw to second was in time, but the return throw to first base sailed into the dugouts. So 2 runs came in to score, and Coastal's got the lead. Now Virginia has a runner on second base following a stolen base with 2 outs in the bottom of the second, trying to get their first run of the ballgame.
So that's a good start to get some runs on the board. Give your pitcher a little bit of confidence and a little bit of room to work with. What have you seen from the starter from Coastal?
He's been sharp thus far. Now we're only 5 outs into his start, but he's looked pretty good. He's kept the ball down. Like he told us in our visit with him yesterday, he'll pitch to contact. He lets his defense play behind him, and the defense for Coastal's looked pretty good. And as you may have heard in the background, he just got a called third strike to get out of the inning. So we'll go to the third with Coastal out in front, 2-0, 2-1-0 for Coastal Carolina, 0-2-2 for UVA, a team that came in with a fielding percentage of .973 on the year.
All right. Thank you, Chris. Let's get back to you before the top of the hour break and get another update, please.
Sounds good. And, oh, by the way, I forewarned Mike Morgan yesterday that it always rains in Statesboro. He now knows why.
Is it raining in Statesboro?
They've got rain. They've got thunder and lightning down there. So every time you go to Statesboro, Georgia, expect rain.
There's going to be a lot of that. There's going to be a lot of that all over the Southeast, into the deep South, down into Florida. They're going to have a lot of that, I'm afraid. These games, some of these series are going to be carrying over till Monday, maybe even Tuesday with weather delays. Thank you, sir. Talk to you in a little bit. Give you an update on other games. Notre Dame 2-0 on Texas Tech. They're in the bottom of the first. Stanford now 15-6 over Binghamton, top of the seventh. And Tennessee has scored against Alabama State. Bottom of the second is 1-0 there. And we had that Vanderbilt game go final against
San Diego was victorious.
Yeah, San Diego.
3-2.
Is that the what are their names? The Toreros? Is that the San Diego team? That's not San Diego State. That's University of San Diego. Aren't they like the Toreros or something like that? What are they?
I have no idea. I'm looking that up now. I'm not sure.
Well, leave it to me to find out for myself. But they did win. You're right. They shocked Vanderbilt 3-2.
And yep, yeah, they're Toreros.
The Toreros. I have no idea what a Torero is, but that is a pretty cute name for them out there at San Diego. All right. You're up to date on the NCAA regional scoreboard. If you want to join us, 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number here on Sports Talk. Hey, you know what? The weekend is here. Great time to get to the beach. If you are thinking about getting to the beach in a future weekend for a long vacation, a weekend getaway, maybe a permanent stay, we want you to call Jimmy Smith at James Smith Realty, Paulie'sVacationRentals.com. That phone number is 843-237-4246, or Paulie'sVacationRentals.com is how you can reach them. They can take care of you for a rental for a week, couple of weeks, a month, 6 weeks. Maybe you want to buy some property and just stay and never come back. That can be worked out as well. That number is 843-237-4246 for your perfect beach getaway. James Smith Realty, Paulie's Vacation Rentals.com. They are the people to contact. All right, let's hit the phones here while we can. We go to Michael in Alabama, home of a lot of rednecks. Michael, welcome in. How are you?
I'm good.
And don't listen to your radio while you're trying to talk to us.
All right.
Speak, son.
So
hey, do you have a dad named Reggie, by the way?
No.
Would you like a dad by the name of Reggie?
My dad left to go get milk.
Your dad went to go get milk?
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
Among Us.
Say what?
And we lost him. Interesting call.
Was that Reggie's son?
I believe it was.
I hope it was,
I
because, I just defamed the people of Alabama trying to take a shot at Reggie. You put Michael in Alabama on the list. Then you said it was Reggie's son. Are you sure it was Reggie's son?
Yeah, I'm about 98% sure.
Well, it might not have been. I just made the people of Alabama just hate us. I called them all rednecks.
I didn't tell you to say that now.
Okay, I won't say all of them are, but some of the ones I know happen to be. But there's nothing wrong with that. I'm a redneck. I am a proud redneck South Carolinian.
And as a redheaded individual, I am very literally a redneck.
Yes, you are.
5 minutes in the sun and my neck turns quite red.
Well, if it's Reggie's son, he did a poor job of trying to come on here and irritate us. Failed, Reggie, if that was you. Failed. Try again. Do better. You can do better. And we can do better with phone calls if anybody wants to join us. 888-898-2525 is the phone number. I'll get back to talking about some of these top stories of the day and some things we haven't gotten to. A little bit more from Greg Sankey coming out of the SEC meetings. And then we've got recruiting coming up as well. So one attorney that they talked to in this story, Michael Caspino, who's out of Newport, California, basically he said, and he's been a major player in crafting deals for recruits. He said, anything you do to try to deny the recruits every nickel they can get is going to get shot down in court. Antitrust. That's his opinion. However, they talked to another attorney, Darren Heitner, and he said that there is nothing that precludes a conference from self-regulation. He's talking to On3 Sports. He said it's likely it would make more sense from an antitrust and normative perspective to leave any reasonable regulatory scheme to the conferences as opposed to it coming from the NCAA. So we'll see what happens here. Are the leagues going to try and police themselves in some fashion when it comes to this NIL stuff? We shall see. But I think that when you go back and you digest what Ryan Day said yesterday in Columbus, Ohio, telling a bunch of boosters there, a bunch of businessmen, that it's going to take $13 million a year to keep his roster together under the terms of NIL. That should send goosebumps up and down everybody's arms when you think about the kind of money we're talking about here. But if that's how we want college sports to be in the future, then so be it. That's how it will be, and we'll just have to learn to live with it and adjust. Hey, did you see the video that's on Twitter? This will be really cool. I give South Carolina credit. They're not the first to do it, but they've been doing a lot of improvements around Williams-Brice Stadium, and one of the improvements was putting in these new LED lights and the flashing lights that will change from bright light to garnet colors, like they have at Alabama, the strobe light effect. They're going to have the strobe light effect inside Williams-Brice Stadium, and there's a video of it that somebody named Gamecock Kyle was inside the stadium, I guess, while they were testing. And how he got inside, I don't know. Maybe he works for USC. Maybe he works for the football program. But he's got video of it. And, man, it's really cool. It is really, really cool. And at night in particular, it's going to be spectacular. The Gamecocks score a touchdown. You got the strobe lights going. You got the lights flashing. You got the garnet lights strobing out there. That's going to be really, really cool. So Williams-Brice Stadium is going to be nice. they're going to be replacing that scoreboard, I think, in the near future. I don't think for this year, but I think in the near future they are. And now Clemson, of course, is getting a new scoreboard. That's going to be really nice for them to have a new scoreboard atop the hill by this coming season. All right, let's go back to the phone, shall we dare? Bobby and Casey. I know he's a real person with a real brain. Bobby, welcome in. How are you?
Hello, Phil. Good evening.
Yes,
Good
sir.
evening, Pat and Chris.
Yes.
Plain and simple. My call is congratulations on your Boston Celtics. I'm a native-born Miami Floridian, and congratulations on beating us.
Thank you. Happy to accept on behalf of my organization.
Yep. That'll be a lot of years to be proud of what I did get to see the NBA. I saw a lot of the Celtics with Havlicek and Cowens in the 70s. Believe it or not, in Miami. So, what a good organization. But our back, you might want to explain to the young people what he did. He fired up a cigar after a win. So, we'll see if Miami can beat you all next year. But good luck against the Warriors. I think the Celtics will win it all. So, also, I just sent you something. The Yankees did pick up an infielder today for cash for the Reds. I don't have it in front of me.
I don't want anybody from the Reds.
Well, you got him.
I mean, seriously. No, they are playing a little bit better. They got off to an awful start. Of course, I saw where the Phillies fired Girardi today after a terrible start in Philly. I hate that because Joe Girardi's a really good manager and a good guy. I hate to see him, get canned like that. He'll bounce back somewhere, maybe in a booth because he was really good on television, or maybe back in a dugout somewhere, but they made that change. I'll see if I can find that information on the Yankees acquisition.
It's Jake Bowers, infielder, outfielder for cash. That's plain and simple. Jake Bowers for the Reds. I'm looking at it.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. Thank you.
Go Yankees. I'm a Yankees fan, too. Go Yankees.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night, Phil.
We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Okay. 888-898-2525. We staying on the phones, or what are we doing? Not staying on the phones? Okay. Let's go to the break. We'll come back and do recruiting, and then we'll get another update from Bergie there at East Carolina. How about that? We'll do that, and then we'll come back in just a moment. Let me see if there's anything else here I wanted to mention as we go to the break. Let's see. We'll update some other notes. I got a few other things. There's some things I've been holding on to that I haven't had a chance to get to this week, and hopefully we can touch on them tonight because there's some issues here we want to discuss. We'll hit a break on Sports Talk, and we'll be back in just a moment.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. I love sports, and I've helped people for over 30 years. Contact me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com when the insurance company won't pay your claim or you have complicated issues. Some other business causes your business to lose money, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. When you lose a relative and find out you got cut out of a will or don't get what was promised. When you have serious injury, like from a wreck or mishap or on the job, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
We're with Major Billy Downer of DNR Major. It's always a good time for folks to remember to get those licenses renewed.
Doesn't matter what time of the year, it's always a season in, whether it's fishing or hunting. Make sure you check your licenses, make sure they're up to date. If you need a hunting or fishing license, you may go to www.dnr.sc.gov to purchase your license online or to any local licensed vendor in your local area.
And don't forget to join us for SC Wild from DNR with Major Billy Downer on Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Hey folks, it's Mike Morgan for Gibson Insurance. Former Gamecock player Bo Mobley and former coach Stuart Lake want you on their team for all your insurance needs. Now, cost-effective solutions is what they're all about for the now and for the long term. They're licensed with every insurance company in the state. They've got offices in Columbia, Greenville, and Sumter. But if you're listening right now, let me direct you to call Bo and Stu today at 803-605-0029. That's 803-605-0029. Let my good friends take great care of you.
All right, the recruiting report here on Sports Talk brought to you by Seawells. Hope you got a chance to get over there today for a roast beef Friday. Frank, you ever get to Seawells for a roast beef Friday? I recommend it highly. And Pat and I didn't get there today because I got caught up on my side of town, and we like to get there. But it'll be back next week. We'll have another great week of the luncheon buffet from 11 till 2. Now, you know what? We've got a lot of partying coming up here. We've got graduations, and we've got weddings and things like that, and you need the best in the catering business. All you got to do is make one simple phone call. 803-771-7385, or go online, SeawellsCateringSC.com. They are the absolute best in the business. They will take care of everything from planning to setup to execution to clean up. You don't have to worry about a thing. Well, you got to pay them. You got to write the check. Other than that, they take care of everything for you. And they'll do it at your location or host at their beautiful facility on Rosewood Drive. Again, that number is 803-771-7385, SeawellsCateringSC.com. So we take a look at recruiting tonight. And Jackson Carver is 6'6", 215. He's out of Culver, Indiana. He was a lacrosse player for most of his athletic career until last football season when he played football for the first time and was hooked. He's a tight end, and South Carolina and Clemson are both aware USC just offered, and Clemson is giving it consideration. USC recruiter Pete Limbo is the one who first made the contact with him, and they've been talking for quite a while. And then yesterday was the first time he heard from the tight ends coach, Jody Wright, and he came with the news of the offer. And so that would have been Wednesday, right? Did I say Wednesday? That would have been Wednesday. And so Wright is picking up the pace with him, and he plans to make a commitment decision in early July. And Wright had laid out for him, what he likes about him, the fact that he is very athletic and that he is raw and that he has the ability to be developed within the Gamecock program and become an elite to tight end, in Wright's opinion. That's what they have told him. So he wants to get on campus for a visit. He's never been, but he's giving it a lot of thought as he lines up some June visits. And he said that right now he has got an official with Miami. That'll be on the 10th, and one with Iowa on the 24th, and he's going to take one to LSU. And again, he's looking at South Carolina. And then there's Clemson. And Clemson has been on him for a while. Tight ends coach Kyle Richardson has been talking to him a good bit. And he'd also like to get to Clemson for a visit, knowing that getting there for a visit could lead to an offer. He has not been offered by the Tigers. And he knows that going there would help in that direction. But he has been talking to Richardson. He said they talk multiple times a week, and they talk about every other day. Pretty consistent communication there. He also has interest in Auburn and could end up visiting there as well. And he could have come out this season, but he opted to do a postgraduate year, and he'll attend the Loomis Chaffee School in Connecticut, where he'll team up with 2024 major quarterback prospect Dante Reno, who's also a USC and Clemson target. USC now on the short list with one of the state's top defensive prospects in the 23 class. Last night, defensive end Montague Rames of Sumter announced a top 8: USC, Virginia Tech, NC State, Georgia, Michigan, UCF, Coastal Carolina, and Florida State. He visited USC last season. He was also in for a visit in March, and Hal McGranahan of the Big Spur reported this afternoon that Rames will be in to visit South Carolina unofficially tomorrow. Clemson's in the top 5 with defensive end Colton Vasek, 6'6", 230, Austin, Texas. He also has Oregon, Oklahoma, Texas, and Texas Tech on the short list. He'll take an official to Clemson this weekend. Cornerback Damari Brown of Fort Lauderdale named a top 6 of Clemson, Miami, Florida State, Alabama, Oklahoma, LSU. He'll take his official visit to Clemson this weekend. USC offered 2024 receiver Kai Bates of Orlando, 6'3", 170. 2024 tight end Luca Puccinelli, 6'7", 225 of Richmond. Clemson handed out several more offers on Thursday. Wide receiver Noble Johnson of Rockwall, Texas. Then in the 24 class, cornerback Amelia Agard of Philadelphia, tight end Jack Larson of Charlotte, safety Mike Matthews of Lilburn, Georgia, offensive tackle Josiah Thompson of Dillon. 2024 offensive tackle Cam Pringle of Woodland plans to visit Auburn today, in fact. Dutch Fork running back Jarvis Green visited Appalachian State on Thursday. Basketball, former USC Chattanooga star Malachi White, who was coached by new USC coach Lamont Paris, is transferring to Gonzaga. So Clemson has their big official visit weekend of the month this weekend. Here are the ones we have visiting Clemson, unofficial, subject to change. Cornerbacks, Brandon Strozier and Damari Brown. Defensive ends, Hunter Osborne, A.J. Hoffler, Keldrick Falk, David Ojebi, Colton Vasick. Defensive tackles, Darren Reed, Stephilian Green, Peter Woods, T.J. Searcy. Linebackers, D. Creighton, Jamal Anderson, Lewis Carter, Tony Rojas. Center, Connor Liu. Offensive guard, Harris Sewell. Offensive tackles, Marquis Anderson, Zechariah Owens, Stanton Rammel. Quarterback, Christopher Vazina, who's committed, of course. Running back, Jeremiah Cobb. Safeties, Rob Billings, Kylan Webb. Tight ends, Olson Henry, Marcus Dixon. Wide receivers, Nathaniel Joseph, Tyler Williams, and Noah Rogers. Again, everything there's subject to change, but that's what we have. Now, some other official visits scheduled for this weekend of USC and Clemson targets, again, subject to change. Quarterback Dylan Lonergan, a USC target to Alabama. Clemson target, defensive tackle Jamar Jarrett to Auburn. USC target, defensive end Kelby Collins to Florida. USC target, linebacker Jordan Hall to Florida. Linebacker Pup Howard, a target of both USC and Clemson to Florida. Running back Trayon Webb, a USC target to Florida. Clemson target, running back Justice Haynes to Georgia. USC target, defensive tackle Jamarian Harkless to Illinois. Clemson cornerback target, Jordan Matthews to Michigan. Clemson defensive tackle target, Victor Burley to Michigan State. USC target, running back Dontavius Braswell to Nebraska. USC target, Desmond Umi Azulu, defensive end to North Carolina. Defensive end, USC target, Jabyron Harvey to North Carolina. USC target, receiver Jaden Greathouse to Notre Dame. Another USC target, safety Jelon Kilgore to Oklahoma. Clemson target, wide receiver Noble Johnson to Ole Miss. And Clemson target, Braden Marshall, cornerback to UCF. USC target, linebacker Jalen Smith to Virginia. A few other recruiting notes for you. Safety, Jaden Kennard, 6'3", 180 of Sumter, the son of Clemson legend and former NFL star safety Terry Kennard, will join the Tiger program this summer as a gray shirt. Kennard was a wide receiver at Georgetown as a junior. He moved to Sumter for his senior season, but he tore his ACL and missed his entire senior season. The belief is his future is as a safety. He will not play this season while rehabbing his knee and putting on weight and strength. All right, but look for another Kennard maybe in the future there at Clemson. Powdersville safety Thomas Williams has set July 4th for his commitment announcement. His offers include Penn State, West Virginia, and Virginia Tech. And with that, I think we have covered everything that we know at this point in recruiting. And we thank you for paying attention to that. And thank you, Pat, for doing what you do, which is running in and out of the room.
You're very welcome.
All right.
For our listeners who aren't aware, of course, I like to explain when things are behind the scenes here. Going on vacation.
No, you don't have to tell them anything.
Yeah, whatever. I like to. We have somebody filling in, so I'm trying to teach while producing the show at the same time, and it's fun.
I should mention here that I see that South Carolina has offered another player, David Stone. David Stone offered this afternoon, a defensive lineman, 6'5", 270 in the 2024 class. He was offered by South Carolina today. So that's another one the Gamecocks have sent out an offer to. And it looks like South Carolina has also offered today wide receiver defensive back in the 24 class, Chalil Cummings. And Chalil Cummings is he's out of Florida. Bradford. Looks like he's out of Bradford, Florida. So he's offered by South Carolina as well today in the 2024 class. And let me see if anybody else has been offered by the Gamecocks today. that looks like it for them today. I'm looking to see if Clemson is probably done offering people for now, since their camps are over for the week and they're getting ready for their big recruiting weekend. They're probably done with all of that. All right, we'll hit the break here at the top of the hour. We'll get an update from Bergie on the other side from Greenville, and we'll be back.
By the way, before we do what's supposed to happen here, thank you for pushing the button. I thank you. Programming thanks you. America thanks you.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. A tropical storm is bearing down on the Florida Peninsula this evening. National Hurricane Center specialist Philippe Papin says forecasters are keeping an eye on Tropical Storm Alex in the Gulf of Mexico.
It shows landfall sometime on Saturday morning between 7 to 11 a.m. on the western Florida Peninsula. And then we have it crossing the Florida coast and actually emerging back over the Atlantic in the western Atlantic basin by that evening after 7 p.m.
The storm is not expected to generate huge winds or a major storm surge, but flooding is likely. Most of the storm will be south of Tampa and Orlando. GOP Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina says retired police and ex-military members would be a perfect source for school security officers.
In the wake of the Uvalde, Texas school shooting, Republicans have been leading the charge on tightening school security. Senator Graham is floating the idea of tapping into the talents and training of former police and military members. He tweets, "We have hundreds of thousands of well-trained former military members who can bring a lot to the table in terms of school security." Senator Graham also says ROTC instructors with firearms training should be allowed to possess weapons at school to enhance security. Bob Agnew reporting.
In the Republican race to replace retiring Pennsylvania Senator Pat Toomey, David McCormick has conceded to Dr. Mehmet Oz. McCormick says he can't make up the deficit in a recount. Quote, "It's now clear to me, with the recount now largely complete, that we have a nominee," McCormick said at a campaign party at a Pittsburgh hotel. "Tonight is really about all of us coming together." Oz had strong support from former President Donald Trump, who stumped for the former television personality. Meanwhile, the Democratic nominee, the state's Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman, has not said when he will return to campaigning after suffering a stroke. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. Relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
New message. Hey, girlfriend, it's Carol from jury duty. We never actually spoke, but I saw you ordered the same hoagie as me at lunch. What are the chances? Anywho, I heard you just got a boat. We should totally grab some hoagies and take it out for a spin.
When you get a boat, you also get new friends. Make sure Progressive's one of them and get coverage today for as little as $100 a year.
Do I want to feel the wind in my hair? Guilty as charged. Oh, seriously, let's ride on your boat.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Annual premium for basic liability policy not available in all states.
Former White House advisor Peter Navarro has been arrested for resisting requests from the January 6th committee.
A federal grand jury has indicted former Trump advisor Peter Navarro on contempt of Congress charges after he repeatedly ignored the House committee investigating the Capitol attack. Navarro was taken into custody Friday morning after an indictment alleged he refused to comply in any way with a subpoena issued by the committee in February. He's expected to appear in D.C. federal court. Navarro is the second Trump loyalist to be charged for refusing to engage with the committee after Steve Bannon was federally indicted last November. It could indicate trouble for former White House social media guru Dan Scavino, who has thus far refused to comply with the committee's subpoena. Bernie Bennett in Washington.
13 people have been injured after a Greyhound bus blew a tire and veered into a sports utility vehicle in a center divider wall on Interstate 10. There were 33 people aboard the bus when it crashed in Banning, about 90 miles east of Los Angeles. News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union.
on 107 The Point.
And here's your weekend forecast. Heavy rains on and off into the night. Our low dips to 66 tomorrow. We'll have some morning showers. They'll clear out and it'll get nicer. 84 Saturday, 84. Our Saturday high temp with lower humidity. Sunday is wonderful with all sunshine and a high peaking at 85. Have a great weekend. I'm Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The
Please
Point.
press button now. No, number 1.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil, Chris, and Pat with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, rolling along on a Friday night. Glad to have you with us heading into the weekend. Thank you for joining us here on Sports Talk, wherever you have tuned over to us from. Highly appreciated. Don't forget, if you miss any part of Sports Talk, you miss a show, though you shouldn't. But if you miss a part, everything is put up in a podcast form for you, the entire show and elements of the show as well. And you can go to, Spotify is a great place to get your podcast stuff. Everything's up on Spotify. You just go to the Sports Talk Spotify channel. It's also on SoundCloud. It's a different type of a podcast hosting area, but it still works. That's kind of our podcasting center, and it distributes it to other podcast outlets like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Those are the three places: Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, I think, are three great places to go. So you can get the show, elements of the show, interviews, and the like. If you miss anything in a day or in a week, everything is housed for you there. And, of course, don't forget to follow us on Twitter at SportsTalkSC. We feed the show on Twitter live, feed the show on Facebook, our Facebook channel, Sports Talk Media Network. We have a YouTube channel as well. A lot of folks have signed up for that recently. We thank you. Sports Talk Media Network, good way to watch us and listen to us. And what else we got? Oh, the website, sportstalksc.com. And all shows are posted there as well. And we also have our live stream on the website, sportstalksc.com. Audio stream, you just go there and click on the link where it says, listen to the Sports Talk stream, and that'll take you right to it. Very, very simple. All right? So make sure you keep up with us that way if you lose us. In the meantime, let's go to Greenville, North Carolina. Last time we checked in with Bergie, things were looking pretty good for Coastal Carolina. What's the update?
Not as good. They're in the bottom, at the bottom of the third now. Virginia has played at 4 runs, and they are still batting, and Coastal just finally gets the inning ground out, but not before Virginia puts 4 on the board. And as we go to the fourth now, they lead 4-2. Big play in the inning was a infield single with the bases loaded, played it a run, and then a double that just narrowly missed getting out of here. The wind has started to pick up and blowing out towards center and left field, so the right-handers looking up at the flags should be excited. But that also means that some nasty weather that's along the coast of North Carolina is being blown this way. And when we last talked to you guys, well, it was 15, 20 minutes ago, it was crystal clear. Now we have a bunch of dark clouds starting to hover. So I don't know what that portends for the rest of the ball game. But right now, as we go to the fourth, Virginia 4 runs, 6 hits, 2 errors, both in the inning, the second inning rather, in which Coastal scored its 2 runs, and for Coastal 2-2-0.
Sticking with Van Scooter as the pitcher right now?
Yes, Jason Beverland, the pitching coach for Coastal, came out to visit with him just a moment ago after Virginia had scored 4 runs, but he's still on the bump for now. And don't even trying to look. The bullpen for Coastal is empty as of right now, but there are a couple of guys starting to walk down that direction. You want to get into the winner's bracket, so you may use as much as you can to beat Virginia here tonight if you're Coastal. So I don't know how much longer at least you give Van Scooter if he runs into any more trouble.
Yeah. Now, you got to be careful how you handle your pitching.
No doubt.
Because, look, they'll beat – if they lose, you got to figure – I don't know anything about Coppin State. Got to figure they'll beat Coppin State. So then you got to come back through the loser's bracket, and you got to have a quality arm ready to go in that third game for you, or you'll be sent home quickly.
Well, exactly. And then the question is, you're facing elimination. Should you lose tonight at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, do you throw your number 2, or as you pointed out, Phil, after you watched Coppin State just get blitzed earlier, do you hope to save somebody? And if, the game dictates what you do, but do you try and maybe not run your number 2 out there until Sunday when you would face either Virginia or East Carolina?
Yeah. All right, we'll get back to you in a little bit. We'll see what happens. A lot of baseball still to be played. Thank you, Chris. Chris Bergen live from Greenville, North Carolina. Coastal Carolina taking on Virginia now. They are down in that ball game after having the early 2-0 lead. Notre Dame continues to lead Texas Tech 2-0. Says bottom of the first. I'm wondering if there's a rain delay going on in that one because that game hasn't advanced. Stanford up on Binghamton 20-7 in the bottom of the 8th. And what would Chris Bergen say? 10-run rule. They don't have that in the tournament. They're still playing. They haven't called it. 20-7 in the 8th, so it qualifies 10 runs after the 7th inning. Virginia up 4-2. Tennessee up on Alabama State 2-0, bottom of the 4th. Central Michigan and Florida scoreless, bottom of the 2nd. Auburn and Southeastern Louisiana scoreless in the top of the 1st. Georgia VCU scoreless, top of the 1st. LSU Kennesaw State scoreless. Missouri State, Oklahoma State, LSU, Maryland, all these games just getting underway. Virginia Tech and Wright State, Michigan, Oregon, all reporting as scoreless at this point. Earlier, Campbell beat Georgia Tech 15-8. Florida State over UCLA 5-3. Arkansas top Grand Canyon 7-1. Columbia 8-2 over Gonzaga. East Carolina 17-1 over Coppin State. Oklahoma 16-3 over Liberty. UConn edged Wake Forest 8-7. North Carolina beat Hofstra 15-4. Louisville 7-2 over Southeast Missouri State. Southern Miss 2-0 over West Point. Texas beat Air Force 11-3. San Diego knocked off Vanderbilt 3-2. Texas A&M down Oral Roberts 8-2. So you're up to date on your college baseball. All right. New racing venue this weekend. Let's talk about it.
Love it when it's forward. Love it when it's fast. Love it when the leaders talk. The pack is moving fast. Love it when they're making lots and lots of noise. Can't wait to hear these W's say. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys. Let's go racing, boys. Love it when they're drafting. Love it when they slide. Love it when the back's straight, the throttle's open wide. Love it when they're making lots and lots of noise. Can't wait to hear these W's say.
Boogity, 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 boogity. Let's go racing, boys. St. Louis. Woohoo! Let's go racing, boys. First time ever heard St. Louis. All right, we go racing in St. Louis. I didn't know they had a speedway in St. Louis, but I guess they do. They got the NASCAR guys in this weekend. We welcome in Jeff Owens in the fast lane. Jeff, of course, a long-time NASCAR scribe, many, many years covering the NASCAR beat out of Charlotte. Then he became a writer covering the Gamecocks. Now he's in the card business. It's always great to have him with us because he has not lost his expertise on NASCAR, not one bit. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Hey, Phil. How are you?
We're doing great. Great to have you with us. So where is this track in St. Louis? How long has it been around, and what's it like?
Yeah, I'm new to the Cup circuit, but it's been around NASCAR for a while. This is the former Gateway Speedway. They used to run IndyCar races there. They run the Xfinity Series there. And it closed down in 2010 and was pretty much abandoned. And a real estate developer and a former racer there in St. Louis decided to revive it. And he has rebuilt the thing and earned a Cup date. And they go there this weekend. It's basically a flat 1.25 mile track. So it's kind of like Phoenix is the best way I can describe it. It's a lot like Phoenix, but a little bit longer. But it'll be the first time there for the Cup Series, so it'll be interesting. There's a handful of drivers in the field who raced there back in the Xfinity Series, but for most of these guys, going to be a brand new challenge this weekend.
You think it's kind of neat to have a brand new track? We had a couple of new tracks come on the scene last year. I remember when the Kentucky Speedway came onto the schedule a few years ago. I mean, you think for NASCAR fans, they kind of enjoy having the new sights, the new looks, the new intricacies of a track to learn about, something that they haven't really thought about before because it's brand new.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great challenge for these guys. I think it's good for the fans. More than, and the best part about it is NASCAR is sort of listening to the fans for a change and mixing things up with the schedule. I mean, they're moving further away from all these 1.5 mile cookie cutter tracks that have been so boring over the years and sort of dulled NASCAR fans to sleep. And we're seeing more road courses. We're seeing more short tracks. We're seeing some new venues. This track actually replaces one of the Pocono tracks, one of the Pocono races that was on the schedule. So they'll only have one race this year. And we go to a new market. St. Louis is a great market. They did really well there when the old Busch Series used to run there. So there's a lot of race fans there. They're going to another big market in the Midwest. I think it's great. I think it's a good move by NASCAR. We got Nashville that's come back on the schedule. I think that was a positive thing. So I think it's a really good move by NASCAR to mix the schedule up and bring some new venues on and hopefully make the racing more interesting and more exciting.
Well, they had qualifying this afternoon. Joey Logano posted the fastest lap. I'm sorry, practice. This was in practice. I thought it was qualifying. My bad. It was in practice. So Joey Logano turned in the fastest lap in practice. Got to believe when you're at a new track for the first time, practice sessions are uber important. So he turned in a speed of 136.753. Looks like the top speeds are all about 136, 135 plus. Was that about what you expected? And what about the tire? You know much about the kind of tire that Goodyear is bringing to this race?
Yeah, that's kind of what they expected speed-wise. I mean, like I said, it's a little bit bigger than Phoenix. They run about 110, 120 at Phoenix. So, yeah, at about a quarter mile of that, that's about what I would expect. I'm not sure what tire they're running there. Goodyear has done a tire test, but I would think it's got to be a little bit unique, probably a little bit more like a speedway tire, I think. But this is a relatively flat track, so you don't have that banking. Brand new surface, probably going to be fast and very grippy. They're probably going to be able to get a lot of grip and run some pretty fast speeds on this track. But as far as the tire, I'm not really sure what compound they're using there. But boy, we got to hope it holds up a little bit better than we've seen in the last few weeks.
All right, coming off the 600, what'd you think? I mean, it was a 619-plus mile race, and it was an exciting finish. And I think somebody on this program said, I think Denny Hamlin's going to win this thing, And
you back that one. That was pretty funny getting a text from you almost immediately after the checkered flag. So,
well,
you definitely nailed that.
When he won the pole, I thought to myself, he won the pole. I said, could it be? Could this be the time? But give him credit, he was the right place at the right time. He avoided disaster there at the end. What'd you think of the 600? Was it a quality race? And what storylines coming out of that should we be looking forward to here this weekend?
Yeah, a fascinating race. I mean, a 5-hour race. I don't know too many people that stuck with it that long. But the thing about it was way different than any 600 I've ever seen, because they just had so many problems. Again, this car is starting to give them fits, the car and the tire. So we saw a lot of drivers spin out, a lot of tire problems. We saw some big crashes, and we saw a lot of – this was almost like a Daytona race with a number of cars that you had get caught up in crashes. And, of course, that lengthened the race, led to a lot of cautions, and cautions, of course, lead to restarts, and that's when the racing is most exciting. So I think this wound up being one of the more interesting 600s I've ever seen. They got a late caution. You had a lot of drama at the end, wrecking and all kinds of stuff going on. And then Denny, as you said, sort of outlasted everybody and inherited the lead there at the end. I don't know that we can make a whole lot out of this because it was so bizarre, and there were so many cautions and so many incidents. But I think the thing I take away from it is that they're still struggling to get a handle on this car and Goodyear with the tires. So hopefully these teams can figure that out pretty quickly here and things settle down a little bit. But by the same token, that was pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, isn't that a little surprising? Because it sounded to me like through the first part of the season leading into the 600, and I guess we're right around that halfway point of the regular season, more or less. I mean, it sounded to me like things were going very well with the new car, and they kind of felt like they had a handle on it, and it was running. They were very pleased with the competitive nature of the car and the way the car was leading to some very tight and racy situations on the various tracks.
Yeah, it is kind of baffling, Phil, because you're right. I mean, we got off to a pretty smooth start, and things were going well. We're having some great races, and then all of a sudden, you get on. So I think some of these bigger tracks is probably what's causing it. They're running faster speeds now, and they're you can tell these cars are harder to drive. And I think as we've gone to some tougher tracks, that's sort of bore things out a little bit, and it's why it's caused a lot of wrecks. It's caused a lot of tire problems and a lot of incidents, and that's made things exciting. But by the same token, it's caused problems for a lot of guys. So I think the tires have got a lot to do with it. So hopefully Goodyear can get that figured out, and they'll get a better handle on things here soon.
All right, you want to go out on a limb and try and predict a winner at a track for a first-time race? I mean, there's no history to pin your pick on here.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I mean, you don't know where to go. I do think it's going to favor some of the veterans and some of the guys that are good at figuring things out quickly. Probably some guys that raced there a long time ago. That might help a little bit. But I want to go out on a limb here. This track is a lot like Phoenix, and we had an upset there last time with Chase Briscoe winning that race. So I think I'm going to go with him to run well on this track this weekend and maybe pull off another one.
Any of these guys have any prior experience on the track running any of the other levels of racing that have been run there?
Yeah, a lot of your older guys. I mean, it's been about 10 or 12 years, but, Harvick, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, some of the guys that have been around, 10 years or more, they've raced there. There's a few guys that have run some trucks there. I think Ross Chastain has run a truck race there before, and maybe a few other guys. I'd say about a quarter to half the field has a little bit of experience on this track. But again, brand new car, whole different scenario. So I don't know how much that's going to help.
All right, sir. Have yourself a great weekend, and we'll see how it goes. I think it's intriguing to have a new track and new fans and new angles and all that kind of stuff. Should be a lot of fun to watch.
Yep, should be a good race. Have a good one, Phil.
You too, Jeff. Thank you very much. Jeff Owens in the fast lane with us here on Sports Talk as they go racing in St. Louis this weekend. And again, as I mentioned, it was Joey Logano, your fastest in practice. Of course, you never know in practice. 32.9 seconds, 136.753, the actual speed there for him. We'll hit a break. Be back after this timeout on Sports Talk.
Founders Federal Credit Union knows your life is busy and your money is important. We are proud to offer local personalized services and convenient online services like Founders Online and the Founders app. You'll love being with us as much as we love serving you. Visit relaxjoinfounders.com or one of our 37 convenient locations to see if you qualify for membership with Founders. Relax, win with Founders. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
Parents ask, what's the best way to save for college? I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus, and my answer is always open a Future Scholar 529 college savings account. It's easy. You can get started online with any amount. It's flexible to adapt to your child's college dreams. And you can deduct 100% of your contributions from the South Carolina state tax return. So what are you waiting for? Go to futurescholar.com and see why it's the smart, easy way to save for college. Futurescholar.com.
Life. It has its ups and downs.
Sometimes it's little things like hitting every red light or dropping your cell phone. Maybe it's the bills, rent, or pressure at work. But when it comes to the South Carolina Education Lottery, you should never feel like playing will solve everything. The lottery is a game. It's played for fun. So set a dollar amount. Expect not to win and make sure responsibilities, family, friends, and work come first. Visit playresponsiblysc.com.
Yeah, you know what it is. Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. Yeah, you know what it is. Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. Yeah, you know what it is. Everything I do it big. Yeah, screaming that's when I pulled off the lot, that's up in my town.
Puts me in the mood for an NBA game when I hear that music. Raining threes, baby. Raining threes like the Celtics did in the fourth quarter. Was that beautiful last night? That was just simply marvelous, in my opinion.
Corn, anytime as a defense you can force Draymond Green into shooting 12 jump shots, he averages less than 6 on the season. That's a win for the Celtics right there.
Well, look, I'm not going to be too confident here. It's too early to get too confident. I'm happy to get a split in San Francisco, then go home. And but you know what? The Celtics have been really good at making adjustments after the first game. I think their defense will be sounder early on, especially on Curry in game 2. But you know what? Golden State's not chopped liver. They're going to come out with their mat on. They're going to come out with a lot of energy, a lot of effort. The Celtics have got to do a better job on their defensive glass. They gave up a lot of offensive boards in that third quarter when they fell behind. So they can't depend on fourth quarter comebacks every game. You know, eventually that catches up with you. It's getting late early, as Yogi would say, in Greenville, North Carolina. Chris, what you got, sir?
Yeah, we approached the midway point of Game 2 of the Greenville, North Carolina Regional. 2-seed UVA has a 4-2 lead over 3-seed Coastal Carolina. The winner moves into the winner's bracket where they get the inauspicious task of facing a team that scored 17 runs, that being East Carolina, the host team, and their 17-1 thrashing of Coppin State earlier today, and they'll do so in front of an amazing atmosphere we anticipate tomorrow. But for it to be Coastal, Chanticleer's got to get some base runners. They got 2 across in the second inning, a little help from the Virginia defense with 2 errors. But still, since that time, Nate Savino has done a really nice job. Coastal's had problems this season hitting off left-handers, and they've only got 3 hits up on the board right now as they bat in the 5th, but did get a leadoff walk. So the potential tying run now at the plate in the 5th as the storm clouds continue to hover over Clark LeClaire Stadium here at ECU.
Well, I hope you can make it through without the rain, man. That'd be nothing worse than having to sit through a rain delay tonight.
It would be my poetic justice, though, after making fun of Mike Morgan last night, having to go to Statesboro where it always rains, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would.
I would have spoken this into existence.
All right, hang in there, and we'll hear from you in the next half hour.
All right, sounds good. I'll give you a call before the show's done.
Thank you, man. Chris Bergen on the scene there, Greenville, North Carolina. Meantime, Notre Dame and Texas Tech, they are in a rain delay in Statesboro, right? 2-0 Irish. Tennessee 3-0 on Alabama State. They're in the 5th now. You've got Florida, Central Michigan scoreless, top of 3. VCU scores 3 in the first against Georgia. They're up 3-0. Auburn with a 2-0 lead on Southeastern Louisiana, bottom of the first. Kennesaw State, 1-0 lead on LSU, bottom of the first. LIU, Maryland, they are scoreless, bottom of the second. Michigan, Oregon, they are scoreless, top of the second. Keep an eye on this ball game because of their coach, Eric Bakich, could be one of the candidates for the Clemson job when their season ends, whether it's regional, super regional, World Series. Things could start happening there. We shall see. Bottom of the second, Missouri State, Oklahoma State scoreless. Virginia Tech takes a 2-0 lead on Wright State, top of the second. And you're up to date on the games in action as we speak.
Corn, just a little more detail from the Statesboro Regional. That Notre Dame Texas Tech game has been in a rain delay for over 4 hours now. It looks like they just gave an update about 20 minutes ago. The tarp is still on the field, but they're hoping to resume this Notre Dame Texas Tech game at some point tonight. It's 2-0 Notre Dame at the moment, but they have announced Georgia Southern and UNC Greensboro's game will not be played tonight. So that already puts them behind the 8 ball. They will not play their first game until tomorrow.
Yeah, it gets crazy. It gets crazy with the scheduling. All right, a few other notes from our Sports Talk Notebook brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. So, again, no decision on a future SEC football scheduling format as expected. The SEC is split, according to Ross Dellinger of SI, on an 8-game format, 1 permanent, 7 rotational, or a 9-game model, 3 plus 6. The 8-game model has picked up more support, he reports. Why? Because of college football playoff uncertainty and TV revenue. All right. I don't know what all that means and why that's important there. I like the 9-game format. I mean, come on, let's play more conference games. Why wouldn't you want to play more conference games?
Would we lose rivalry games, though? Would Carolina still want to play Clemson every year?
Well, of course you have to. That's got no, you'd have 3 other weekends to play other people. We'll be back. Birdies and Bogies coming up.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's your weekend forecast. Heavy rains on and off into the night. Our low dips to 66 tomorrow. We'll have some morning showers. They'll clear out and it'll get nicer. For Saturday, 84. Our Saturday high temp with lower humidity. Sunday is wonderful with all sunshine and a high peaking at 85. Have a great weekend. I'm Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather.
Enjoy the sounds of summer from Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers. Cannonball! Enjoy the taste of summer, too, with amazing hand-tossed pies, cool, crisp salads, and over 100 beers from around the world. Mellow Mushroom, in the Vista and on Sunset in Lexington.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
And I've been taking it now for probably about a good 2 weeks, and I can really tell a difference, and I like it. So I don't want to run out. I can tell that my energy level, because I'm 57 years old, and I've done construction work all my life, and I've had both my knees replaced and both my hips replaced. But I had a knee replacement in January, and that last surgery really has taken something out of me. And I've just been trying to find something, and I think I found what I need.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature right now. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com for more information or to place your order. Shipping is always free. And don't forget to get 35% off your first order as a preferred customer by using discount code BALANCE.
I'm already a big fan of Medicare Blueprint. Tim and his team saved me several $1,000s. They took a look at my health insurance. They helped me get the best possible plan. But not long ago, I reached out when we had a crisis. The big bad insurance company out of nowhere just canceled Mom's medicine for her multiple sclerosis. No warning, 30 years, same med, and just like that, gone. Here's the good news. Medicare Blueprint doesn't work for the insurance companies. They work for you. They're local. Imagine me trying to get this fixed, calling some national toll-free number. Outsourced operators never talk to the same person twice. Medicare Blueprint went to work, helped me get Mom's meds back, and how's this? Even less expensively than we were paying before. Incredible customer service and local. What a great formula. Oh, and it cost me nothing for their services. Nothing. Whether you're on Medicare or not, my mom is, I'm not. Medicare Blueprint help both of us. Online, it's MedicareBlueprint.com or call them 708-7398. That's 708-7398.
Are you looking for free checking and free savings? Dave Ramsey here, telling you to go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank that's so big they lose the ability to treat you like a human being. At Palmetto Citizens, you're not just a number, you're a member. Join today at any of their 14 locations or at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
In South Carolina, elections are right around the corner, and this year it's more important than ever to know when, where, and how to vote. Because now, South Carolinians can vote early in the primary from May 31st to June 10th. AARP South Carolina has your back with up-to-date election information, like how to register, where to vote, and key voting deadlines. Visit aarp.org/scvotes and make your voice heard. That's aarp.org/scvotes. Paid for by AARP.
You know what? I get asked every now and then, Kev, when you say my guy, do you really have a my guy at Palmetto Exterminators? Well, I really do. Ron Byers is my guy. Do you realize I've been a customer of Palmetto Exterminators for 20 years this summer? That's over the course of 3 homes, longer than my kids have been around. I'm loyal to Palmetto Exterminators for several reasons. First, they do a phenomenal job with pest control for a very fair price. It's just not a concern around my home. They take care of everything from regular visits to termite inspection, mosquito care. This is a company that's been around for more than 60 years serving the Midlands. When they come around, they're clean, they're courteous, and they're on time. Look, it's not just me. When it comes to things like those pesky mosquitoes, Palmetto Exterminators voted best of Columbia in Columbia Metropolitan for their mosquito control. I could have told you that before anyone even voted. What else can you possibly need from your pest control company? If you're looking for someone to help you, look no further than my guy, Ron Byers, Palmetto Exterminators. Online, it's palmettoexterminators.net or call them 254-5833, 254-5833.
4. Straight down the middle. It went straight down the middle. Then it started to hook just a wee bit. That's when my caddy lost sight of it. That little white pellet has never been found to this day. But it went straight.
All right, time to talk about the great game of golf here in South Carolina, around the country, and around the world as we go hunting for birdies and bogeys here on Sports Talk, starring the one and only George Bryan III. We'll get to GB and a couple of guests in just a moment. Want to update the Memorial in Ohio as round 2 has come to a conclusion. It's Cameron Smith at 8 under par after a 69, a shot ahead of Denny McCarthy and K.H. Lee. As far as others, Roy McIlroy, a 69, he's 5 under. Matthew Neesmith, good day for him in that he's going to make the cut, a 72, -3. Zalatoris is -3. John Rahm is -2. Jordan Spieth is even. Ricky Fowler is even. Lucas Glover is +1 after a 70. And William McGirt, a 78, leaves him at 3 over. He'll miss the cut. Bryson DeChambeau is going to miss the cut. 77 leaves him at +9, and the cut came in at +2. As for the U.S. Women's Open, got the second round going on there in North Carolina, and they're playing at Southern Pines. It's Mina Harajay at 9 under par after a 69 clubhouse lead. Minjee Lee on the course at -9. She's playing the 18th, working on a round of 5 under. At 7 under par, with a round of 7 under, 64, Hai Jin Choi. And then Anna Nordquist, a 68. She's at 7 under. Ingrid Lindblad, the LSU player, the amateur, she's on the course at 7 under, and she's 1 under on her round today. And with that, we welcome in George Bryan III with all this golf going on and all this golf talk going on as well. GB, how are you, sir? Nope. Hang on a second. Who did we lose? We lose George?
Our phone system has crashed, and I've had to reboot it. So you're gonna have to give me a moment here.
All right, that's okay. We'll give you a moment or two. This happens more than we like, but it happens. So while we wait for that to be restarted, and we bring George to the front here, we'll get George on with us here in just a second, hopefully, right? And I'll try to clear my throat while I have a moment. We'll take a look at the baseball scoreboard again. Tell you that Virginia and Coastal Carolina, it's 4-2. They're in the bottom of the 5th. And Tennessee now 3-0 on Alabama State. Florida and Central Michigan are 1-1. VCU now 3-0 on Georgia. Auburn up 5-0 on Southeastern Louisiana. Kennesaw State and LSU are 1-1. Maryland with a 1-0 lead on LIU. Michigan with a 1-0 lead on Oregon. Oklahoma State leading Missouri State 1-0. We got George and friends with us now. Good evening, George.
Good evening. How you doing?
I'm fighting off a cold, but otherwise doing okay.
Yeah, and speaking of fight, we got special guest, former Gamecock fighter Robert Dargan. He is the head coach for AC4. Also, we got Rob Thames, Tsunami Bar Sports Director of Technology. Hey, but fellas, y'all be patient. We've got little turbulence in the air. And Patrick, he was cool and said, "Hey, our system froze up." Well, we call that choking in golf. So I hope we can pull this one off. Every now and then you gotta
re-tee. You know, sometimes you just have to re-tee, you know, and we're in the process of re-tee.
Tip out, figure it out, and let's go.
Let me ask you this real quick before you get to the guests, and we'll have plenty of time. I just wanted to get your opinion on, and this has been a heavy topic, of course, around the world this week when it became known that Dustin Johnson was going to play in the LIV tournament next week in England. And I'm just wondering, from your standpoint, you have a son who's on the PGA Tour in Wesley Bryan, and he's, you know, fighting week to week to make cuts and to make money, and you see what these folks are doing over there and throwing these huge dollars at the players. What do you think? Is there a right or wrong here in any way?
This is just my opinion. It doesn't represent Wesley necessarily. But I think this LIV Tour is one that is an effort to grow golf. And anytime somebody comes up with some idea, and Greg Norman, by the way, had ideas that spun into the World Golf Championship. It's such a new one, and the minute the PGA Tour branched out, stepped up, and tried to snuff it out, it got my attention because it's got to be something good if they go so hard to try to combat it, to try to smother it. So that's just my opinion, and what it looks like to me, based on what the LIV Tour has come out with, is the PGA Tour now is underpaid. Hard to believe, but they
talking about the money they're going to be throwing around. Oh my gosh!
And you know, there's an old saying around these guys are pros and girls are pros, and when you play for money, it does make a difference. So I think they went for in my opinion, kind of a low blow with the angle they took off with initially. And I think at some point, you know, there'll be some riff about it, but just like some of the other new programs, it'll come out, there'll be a derivative of this. And I think overall it'll be good for the game. Now, I don't know details, and that's just without a lot of research and what I've heard and what I talked to Wesley. Wesley's not, he's still trying to gather some intel about what's going on, and still is too young to draw conclusions. But that's my opinion.
We got your guest standing by, so play through.
Well, I appreciate it, and it's very special. Coach Rob Thames, I'm going to put you. I want to say hello to you first, but we're gonna let Robert Dargan tee off. Good evening, Rob.
Hey guys. Good.
And we got a threesome playing. We'll play a captain's choice against Phil's best single ball.
Yeah.
So Robert Dargan, Coach Dargan, former Gamecock, another state championship. AC Flora takes it again, and Coach, certainly a privilege to have you on the show. Good evening.
Thank you for having us, guys. Having me, I really do appreciate it. It's always fun to be on with y'all. Phil, how about our Celtics, man? How about that?
I'm feeling good right now, Coach. I'm feeling real good.
I had a buddy of mine. We were talking last night, and he coached college basketball for 20 years, and he goes, "I'm feeling a gentleman's sweep." I go, "What is that?" He goes, "That means Celtics in 5." I was like, "I like that." So
I'll take it. I'll sign up for that today.
And he said that before the opening tip, so I'm feeling pretty good about it. I'm thinking Celtics in 6.
I would just, you know, I'd like a sweep. I'd like to win on the home court, but I don't want to be greedy. I'm not going to just think that you win one game, you got the whole thing done. I know Golden State's going to come back with a lot of fire on Sunday.
Yes, I would suspect so.
I'm sorry, I'm stepping out of the foursome. Go ahead.
Okay.
Well, hey, Robert, like I said, it's Phil's best one ball against our 3, and congratulations on a state championship with AC Flora. So talk to us a little bit about your season and how it culminated.
Thank you. Thanks, George. I really do appreciate it. We had like I said earlier when we were on earlier before the season started, I thought we just had the potential to be one of the best teams that Florida's ever had, and that's saying a lot given the history of the program. And they didn't disappoint. We really had 10, we have 16 kids on the team, varsity and JV, and we had really 10 kids that would have, that would have played on anyone else's top 5 in the state, honestly, and a lot of good young players too that are coming up. The hard part was kind of getting it down to that top 5 because there was a lot of competition there. And the kids that ended up being in our top 5, they only played together 3 times during the year before the postseason. So, but that I thought that was a good way to kind of showcase our depth. They won 8 tournaments this year, 8 out of 12 tournaments, which is outstanding. You don't win every time you play unless you're Bauer Nelson or whatever, like that. But our goal was to give everyone a lot of chances to play. Obviously, win as many as we could, and then be ready to go by postseason. Then we won our region for the 28th straight year, which was awesome, and then won Upper State for the 3rd or 4th straight year, which is good. And then at State, we hosted this year at Forest Lake Club, and 15 of the 16 kids on the team were Forest Lake members, which certainly was helpful. But like I told one of my buddies when he called me, he goes, "Well, I got to play at Forest Lake. That's got to help." I was like, "Yeah, it did help, but we could have played this one in the parking lot anywhere, and we were going to win." We had that good a team, and we shot. The kids shot 288 and 277, 565. The 4A state record was 568, and that was by Riverside back in 2000, which was when your boys were playing against Brent Delahousse and Bill Haas's team. So that was pretty cool. And the night before the state tournament, we had all the kids over here for dinner, and I showed them a video of the 1973 Belmont when Secretariat won by 36 links. And we told them, the coaches told them, I was like, "That's what y'all guys are capable of. You really are." And no one remembers that obviously there's 14 other horses that won the Triple Crown, but the reason Secretariat is remembered so much is because of the way he won in dominating fashion. And our kids kind of ran through the tape just like that. They won by 40 shots. All 5 of the kids finished all state, which is a record that's never happened, and they broke the scoring record. It was a great year. It really was. We had 2 kids finish runner-up in state. Luke Sullivan, who's going to South Carolina next year to play, and then Charles Coffin, who was a freshman, excellent player. He had the lowest stroke average on the team this year at 70.5. And then 4th was Birch Harrison, who's a senior co-captain along with Luke, and Birch is going to play golf at High Point University next year. And then Adam Hunt was 5th. He'll be our captain next year. He's a junior. He's committed to the University of Illinois. And then Coleman Ferguson finished 8th, and Coleman Ferguson is a rising sophomore. His stroke average this year was 71.4, and he's an outstanding player. You're going to hear that kid's name a bunch. And then, like I said, we had a bunch of other kids right behind him that were ready to fill in the blanks if we needed them, and they're going to be needed next year for sure.
Well, I tell you what, that is absolutely spectacular. You got when you brought up that video, that got me fired up. I want to go race, swing at a golf ball or something, Coach.
Yeah, I tried that one last year, and the kids won state last year, but we didn't play the way we wanted to play. They still won by 15 shots or so, but I told them, I was like, I wanted them to go out there and break 280, I always think like in high school golf you're trying to break 300, and in college golf you're trying to break 280, and these kids are college type players. They really are. They're all going to. All 5 of these kids are going to end up playing Division I golf at some point. I'm pretty sure of that. And we didn't have a number 1 through 5. We had 5 number 1 type players, which is a luxury to have. And I'm glad they were able to realize their potential. They really did. They really played good, and I couldn't be prouder of them. We had such great parental support, and the school was supportive. This is really neat out at Forest Lake. Obviously, we were hosting, and all the Florida kids, the students were there, and the club really embraced the tournament. And we probably had 100 students out there following these kids around. And I always tell people, like, high school and junior golf sometimes can be confused for the Federal Witness Protection Agency because you don't get a lot of fans there. And to have all those kids out there supporting our kids, and the parents and the club members and the administration and Reggie Anderson from LTX was out there, the state newspaper was out there. It was just really cool. And it's kind of unique to junior golf. You don't see a lot of that. So that was cool for those guys to kind of get the recognition that I think they deserve. And I thought that was really neat. And then us being able to come on Phil's show and with you and talk about this is just an extra bonus to show, highlight these kids, and they're very deserving of their success. And they worked hard, and they deserve everything they've got.
Well, I know it'll be a few months. There's summer golf and fall, and then a winter season and off season. I'm gonna ask you a question. Maybe bring in Rob Thames in a bit. Coach, do you believe in the conditioning, the physical conditioning? Golf is one of those sports that's still not a lot talked about, but a lot of these players are really hitting it in the gym. What's your feelings about that?
I agree with that 100%. I know when I was at South Carolina back in 88 through 90, and we had to, that's the first time I ever had lifted weights, and I was like, oh, that's what we're going to do this as golfers. And we still did it because Steve made it. Steve Lieber was our coach. We had to go at 6:30 in the morning on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, which Friday morning, 6:30 in college is a difficult thing after Thursday night. But it really has become much more, our kids all work out. And the kids, and I told them, I was like, well, you might as well start doing it now because you're going to be doing it in college. And it really does help. And the one thing I think is interesting about the explosion of golf and all the kids playing golf, there's a lot of kids there's so many more kids playing golf now than when I played junior golf. And a lot of them are athletes, and they do work out, and they do, hit the ball tremendous distances. And, but they're just much more athletic kids playing the sport. And, so yeah, it definitely is. That's here to stay on that. I mean, that people, if you're not doing that, you're getting passed by for sure. And I know the flexibility stuff. You got me on, George. You got me on that, on some of that, the Kasami bar, and that's helped me and helped my back for sure, my flexibility. I'll tell you guys a real quick funny story, if you don't mind. When I was in college, they used to. My last 2 years, they used to test us for flexibility and all that stuff like they did the other sports. And I started doing all the golf team stuff. And the guy came to me my senior year and he goes, well, congratulations. I was like, for what? He goes, well, the 454 athletes we tested, you're the least flexible of all of them. So I was like, well, someone had to be there. So it really does help. And these kids have taken advantage of that for sure. And that's nice to see. When I was that age, I did not. So that took to my detriment for sure.
Well, I'm going to welcome in Rob Thames to speak on that brand new golf. It's more than golf technology, but there's great golf benefit. It was invented in the football weight room at Clemson, but I think the biggest beneficiaries are going to be golfers and then seniors. And although you're a bit young for that, you're getting close, Robert. And
52. I'm right there. I'm close.
There you go. And so welcome, Rob Thames. How you doing?
George, good to be with you. Good to be with you, Coach. Congratulations on the title. That's always awesome to take a group of young kids and then watch them develop over a few years and reap the benefits of their hard work. I used to be a part of that when I was in strength coaching to get those guys in and see them achieve and excel, and that was always a big bonus, part of the job. So congratulations.
Thank you. I agree.
Absolutely beautiful. And I showed back in the last winter, I showed Robert some ideas that Coach Thames showed me. So, Robert, appreciate you bringing that up. Rob, why don't you speak to what Coach just mentioned about some of the benefits of the Tsunami Bar?
Well, first of all, I'm really curious just to get a quick idea of how his guys have developed, from freshmen when they come in and they probably haven't done too much in a weight room. And then as they leave as seniors, and the program or protocol that you have them on, what's benefiting the most, do you think? Is it the strength aspect? Is it the speed aspect? Is it the flexibility aspect? Or kind of an equal balance of all of that?
I would say all of that combined. I mean, it's like the big thing is a lot of times when they come in, they're not strong enough to really control the club. The club swings in, they don't swing the club, and then as they get stronger and the flexibility is there as the youth, but they have to that flexibility is a double-edged sword. It can work against you too if you're not, know what you're doing. And so they get stronger, and then they get more precise motion, and then a lot of it is just, and that bar is really a good thing. It really does. And it's very, I'm sure it helps with everything, but it really does help with golf for sure. No doubt.
Yeah, that's you led right into it with that last comment, because that first thing you mentioned about the club swinging and the kid is because you don't have any really proprioceptive awareness of where your body's at and what it's doing, especially in an athletic motion, and you're trying to do it at a high speed. And And when you get a hold of this type of technology that we have with the Tsunami Bar, we have one product that's called a battle stick. So you push against the bar, and the bar pushes back against you. Now that kind of goes from throughout the lineup of Tsunami Bars, but this particular one, they're just small little handheld sticks that you can stand up or lay down or bend over, however you want to use them, in whatever form you want to use them in. And you put force and speed into the bar, and whatever you put into it, it's going to kick it back against you just as hard, if not harder, which is going to, if you're standing up, it's going to make you put those feet in the ground, keep that core stable, keep that trunk stable. So you become control of your motion as opposed to the motion becoming control over you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I can tell you I was with a young athlete from Ainer, South Carolina, close to Myrtle Beach earlier, and we were in the gym, and she had I think she had the new Tonal Flex stick, and she was absolutely smiling the whole time while she was working really hard. And it's one of those things that's a product. Coach, we're going to talk more about it as we move along, but it's fun technology. It doesn't actually have to hurt you. It's brand new to the golf world. It doesn't hurt to get a great benefit. So you don't have to go through pain to receive a game. And I'm getting it sounds like we got a putt out. Go ahead and hit a final putt. But maybe wait till next week. And that's a long time, but it'll go by fast. It's been a privilege having you on the show, Coach Dargan.
Thank
and
you.
Congratulations on a great season, and we'll have you back again this summer.
That'd be great.
Rob,
I appreciate it, guys.
Congratulations,
Rob,
Coach.
Thank you.
Rob Thames, privilege having you on, and we'll continue we got a brand new sponsor of the segment, the Tsunami Bar Sports team. And hey, so Phil, I'll go ahead and sign off for Rob Thames. G3 says tee 'em high, but shoot 'em low, Phil.
Thank you, George. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Coach. And George, if Wesley decides to go to that live tour, he needs an extra caddy or something, considering the money they throw around over there. I'll be happy to go over there and scoop it up for him, if he needs that. He needs somebody.
Pass that along.
He needs somebody to help. He's got somebody to carry the bag. I'll carry the other bag. I'll carry the bag full of money, and the brother can continue to, whoever his caddy is, can continue to carry the golf bag. I'll carry the money bag. That'll be my deal.
Hey, Phil, my hopes is it would be a 2-person job.
I bet. Thank you, George. Great stuff. See you next week, my friend.
See you later.
George Bryan III, birdies and bogeys around South Carolina. One quick recruiting note. Clemson offered Marcus Dixon this evening, the tight end from Warminster, Pennsylvania, who's in for his official visit. Also, I had omitted one player. I knew I was a player short, and I had mentioned him before visiting Clemson this weekend. I just didn't have him on the master list for this weekend. Ronan Hannafin, the wide receiver from Cambridge, Massachusetts, taking his official. That's 31 we count, 31 official visitors to Clemson this weekend. The entire list is on our website. If you want to check it out, SportsTalkSC.com. All right, we got about 2 minutes. I think we're going to get Bergie on for one more update from Greenville, North Carolina. Meantime, I can tell you Tennessee's up 8-0. Florida's 1-1 with Central Michigan. VCU leads Georgia 4-0. Maryland's up 9-0 on LIU. LSU up 2-1 on Kennesaw State. Oklahoma State up on Missouri State 3-0. Michigan leads Oregon 3-0. And to Greenville, North Carolina, the latest on Coastal and Virginia. Chris.
I know you guys had Jeff Owens on a little bit earlier. Coastal needs a pit stop in the worst way. The wheel's starting to wobble a good bit for the Chanticleers. They now trail 7-2 here in the bottom of the fifth inning with one out and runners at the corners. Virginia started this inning with a bloop double down the right field line and then a shot into center field in no man's land. Left fielder, center fielder, and shortstop all converging. Unable to make a play. A run comes in to score, and they continue to pound away. This is a UVA team that in its starting 9, Phil, every one but 2 players bats over 300. They're starting to flex that offensive muscle.
Well, knew they were good going in, right? There was no misconceptions about how good Virginia might be.
No, not at all. And Coastal's actually had to go to its bullpen now. Reed Van Scooter could not get out of the 5th. So now you get into a situation, how much longer do you go? How much deeper do you go into your bullpen knowing that now you're probably going to go into the loser's bracket and every game you'll be playing from here on out is an elimination game, and you've got to save as much pitching as you possibly have.
Yeah. Great job, Bergie. Let me remind everybody that you can follow Bergie on our Twitter at SportsTalkSC.com as he tweets throughout the game. And as long as Coastal is there at Greenville, he'll be there. And then our coverage on our website, SportsTalkSC.com. He'll have the post-game coverage there as well after tonight's game and any game that Coastal's playing in. Thank you, Bergie. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Y'all, too.
Thank you very much. That'll do it. Thank you, Pat Daniel, for doing a fantastic job. Thanks to all the guests tonight. Love hearing from them. Thanks to all of you for joining us tonight. We hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you Monday here on Sports Talk.